hashtag forced to vote has made me realize there isn't a left in America, and that's the problem. There even the thing we all agree on, we couldn't agree on when it came time to do it. Half the left said, don't be mean, and let's wait for a better time. We're in the middle of a deadly pandemic. The left is completely lost.
We are just deprived of a national conversation about anything to the extent that we have one. It's just about these stupid culture war issues. It's not about what's really happening right now.
Make sure that the working poor and barely middle class in this country have a system that answers to them.
BLM, Antifa, Boogaloo, 3%ers, right-wing militias, they are not the irrational ones. If the government continues to be illegitimate and tyrannical and uncaring, the summer will be nothing compared to what is to come.
There's absolutely no reason for you to be governed by someone you disapprove of. This is an incoherent, nonsensical concept. The only reason we even take it as a hypothesis is that we're trained to the contrary since kindergarten.
As a general rule, people are pretty reasonable. And so they'll usually pick the thing that makes the most sense.
In a system where it felt like chaos or collapse would be something which would inspire some kind of, natural, organic, democratic control, I could get behind that.
We don't have democracy in our workplaces. We never did. The commitment to democracy is verbal in this society, limited to the voting activity where we live, but not where we work.
If you want the government to be carefully focused on ensuring the rules of the game are what we actually want them to be, that we're getting rid of old rules, this is very important, which is not occurring.
And then I started paying attention to the rise of AI and automation and how many jobs are going to get taken away. And then once you see the actual numbers, it's pretty staggering.
Yeah, and that's how I got there, Joe.
We have all of these resources available. There are so many empty houses in this country. There are so many empty apartment buildings, but there are so many people who are living on the street because they can't afford to pay that bill.
There we go. Now you can hear me. Hello, everyone. It's good to be back. It's really good to be back. I have been dying to come back for a very long time. I leave, and what fucking happens, guys? I leave, and then Biden wins, and then Biden starts to win. Literally, right when I fucking leave, Biden all of a sudden turns around in South Carolina and then just fucking destroys Bernie Sanders in the primary. And I think that was by design. I think the system kind of designed it that way, but that's just my opinion. So I'm not blaming you, but I left, and so what happened? Where the fuck did I go, right? What happened? So, I moved to California. That was a huge deal. And then I started to realize I was saying words on this YouTube channel and not really having an underlying philosophy to project from. So, to be specific, I don't know if any of you are longtime viewers. And by the way, there's a live stream portion of this, and this will also be posted on YouTube. And it will, I'm hoping, it'll probably get around 50 views or so, which is totally cool. That's great. That's where this channel is. This channel is small right now, and that's where it's at because that's how much effort I've put into it so far. But hopefully that will change. I mean, as you can see, I got shit set up, right? I can do stuff now that I couldn't before. I have a good mic. That helps. The there are lots of other things, but let's get to the part that everyone's trying to figure out right now, which is what the fuck happened, right? So you moved to California. What does that mean, right? Like, I could have told you what was going on. I could have done a lot of things. So I kind of fell into a depression, and it sucked. And I found out that I have ADHD. I found out that that when you go from Christianity to atheism, that not all of your problems get solved. And so that caused some issues. Hey, Tony Herndon, I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong. I'm terrible with names. Says, I am a huge fan of yours. Thank you. Good to be back. And I intend to stay here. I'm going to stay here. This is where I'm at. And here's the cool thing. This is like my room. This is like my new room. I moved to California. This is my place. And I kind of decided during this year break to figure out what it is that I believe, right? What the fuck is it that I believe? What's the framework? What's the underlying purpose and meaning behind it all, right? I was on the left and playing a team. That's what I was doing. I was playing for a team. And when you do that, you're just projecting what you hear from other people. And that's what I was doing. I was watching Kyle Kulinski, Jimmy Dore, TYT. I mean, I was watching all sorts of YouTube politics channels and basically just taking their shit and projecting it, right? I'm not adding any analysis. I'm not adding anything new, right? And so if I'm not adding anything new, that means that I shouldn't be here. And so I left because there was nothing to add. And the reason there was nothing to add was because I had no underlying philosophy, right? So when you go from Christianity to atheism, right? There's this sort of existential crisis that you have to go through. You have to realize that you have to put meaning into life and shit. And when you start doing that, you have to start asking yourselves, what makes sense then? What is moral? What is right? And so I started digging into underlying philosophies that make sense. And so those philosophies, those frameworks, at least I should say, that I have heavily researched into, or at least tried to attach to in my lifestyle. So what are the three frameworks there? The first one is utilitarianism. So when I became an atheist from a Christian, I had to ask myself, what is it that I want, right? What's the whole fucking point? And I had to accept the whole reason I'm here is I just want to be happy. I just want to maximize happiness for everyone, for me, for everyone, right? That's all we want. That's the whole fucking point. I'm okay with that. And I mean, there was a lot of depression behind coming to grips with that. And at the same time, by the way, I'm learning that I have ADHD, which is I don't know if any of you know what ADHD is, but it's a lot more serious than a lot of people make it out to be. So, on top of that, I got into socialism. I used to be a social democrat, and there's not a lot of voices that are socialist on YouTube, and that's unfortunate. Now, I know a lot of you might be social democrats, or you might be somewhere in between, or maybe further to the right, who knows? But I just want to say, when I say socialism, I mean democracy in the workplace, right? So in the workplace, I believe the workers should own the work, and I believe that should be mandated. So I think the only way to do that is through revolution. And that's going to cause a lot of fucking chaos and shit, but we got to get through that at some point. So, I mean, we're pretty fucking close to that if you haven't. And on top of that, I mean, we need a UBI because you have automation that's going to replace our jobs anyways, and then you'll have companies that are owned by like two people, right? Google at some point is going to start shrinking because they won't need the humans anymore, right? So we need there's a lot of shit that people are not paying attention to in YouTube. That's why I'm here. So socialism is extremely important because right now the big tech companies are owned by banks and investors, and the big tech companies are kind of deciding how the future is going to look. And if we don't get those systems, what's the word I'm looking for? Organized, then we're going to start inventing things that we don't want to invent, right? That's going to be the problem. These companies are getting huge. And so how do we solve it? Well, we give the company to the workers. That's socialism. You give a democracy in the workplace. So what does that mean? That means the board of directors belongs to everyone. That means it's not just a few people and their buddies and the people who they elect and their kids, right? That's fucked up. That's not banks, right? Banks shouldn't be deciding how Google progresses. That's bullshit. That doesn't make any fucking sense, right? Your grandma's 401k has a voice in how Google progresses, but software engineers don't have that voice. What the fuck? That's crazy, right? So I'm a socialist. Social democracy, as Kyle Kulinski puts it, is a compromise between socialism and capitalism. But you have to see, as Dr. Richard Wolff said, notice I've done some research. That's why I left. I want to have this shit ready, right? So Dr. Richard Wolff says very clearly that capitalism is slavery, right? Capitalism is slavery. You have an employer and an employee, a little king and the employee who has to do whatever the fuck the employer decides. And then the employee has no say over the shit that they produce. So these people who are Google software engineer geniuses, right? Who are actually currently trying to unionize because they have no fucking voice right now. They have no say in the voting procedures in Google. That's fucked up. That's not right, right? So of course they're unionizing. Of course they're trying to socialize the big tech companies. Of course all of these fucking big tech companies, as Elon Musk says, is just going to monopolize until it inverts on itself, right? So that's where we're heading, right? That's what we're seeing unfolding before us right now. So this is why I'm here. The reason I'm back is because I see reality a lot differently than other people. And I think that's very obvious. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's why I'm back. I have something to say, and it's a good time to fucking say it. That's what I think. And I wish I had come back sooner. I wish I regret not telling my audience that I left, and I regret. I mean, I had people who were paying me on Patreon. Like I'm honestly, I put in the description, don't fucking donate to me. If you donated to me in the past, send me an email and I want to refund that. I want to refund all the money. So because all that shit was a fucking joke, right? I want to actually look at this quality, right? Here's a cool thing. Here's a cool fact about this channel. I don't know if I got viewers coming in. That's cool. So while I was gone, I decided to learn programming, and I'm a mathematician. I've been programming my whole fucking life. And so, but I got really fucking serious about programming and learning how to automate post-production. So when you're a YouTuber, right, and you want to make videos, you have to video edit, and you have to edit the audio, and you have to make this look good and shit, right? But that's really hard to do if you're, let's say a mechanic and you want to teach how to fix a car, right? That's really fucked up that they have to learn video editing in order to, that's their barrier of entry into YouTube, right? So that was my barrier of entry. I hate video editing. Video editing is a pain in the ass. How do you solve that problem? You automate the whole fucking process. So I have literally automated the whole fucking post-production process. I'm going to make a package, put it out in GitHub, and hopefully, I mean, my goal is to make it easy for people to come on here and say their voice, because I'm sure a lot of people want to say things like hashtag general strike, right? That's the shit that we need right now. So That's my goal. And here's the thing. On top of that, during that time period that I was away, I was fortunate enough to, provide myself financially using statistical arbitrage in the financial markets. And now I'm okay now. So don't donate to me. Donate to someone else. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm fucking fine right now. Okay. Look at this. I have all my shit. I'm good. You probably don't. And I'm going to get ad money from this anyways, because people are going to watch it. It's like $2 1,000 views, but that's great. Whatever. I don't care. I'm here to say a fucking message, right? The message is not being said. Even people like Vosh and Jimmy Dore, right? The people who are currently representing the furthest left that we can go, they're still not pushing far enough to the left. That's what I think. That's my view. So even Vosh, right? He's a socialist, but he believes he's a little bit more of a reformer than I am. So he's not I don't think he's a reformer like some of the social democrats are, but he wants to convince people to switch to worker co-ops. I want to mandate it, right? So mandating it is a little bit more authoritarian, but I think that's the only way to ban slavery. The only way they banned slavery, by the way, is they fucking made an amendment and banned slavery. That's how when you're a farmer, right? Let me just tell everyone some history here, right? You're a farmer. And let's say slavery is legal, right? So you're a farmer, slavery is legal, and you decide, do I want to have slaves or not, right? So your competition is having slaves. All of the competition, all the other farmers, they have slaves. So should you buy slaves? What ends up happening is it becomes an unfair competition. So if you put worker co-ops in a capitalist environment, the slaves are going to be more efficient, right? Slavery was more efficient, but it's also fucking slavery, right? That's the whole point. Like having slaves, yeah, it probably increases your profits, right? For your costs, right? Your return of investment increases or whatever, right? So I'll read I see a lot of live chat here. I'll get to them in a second, or I guess it's over here now. So yeah, slave owners, right? They had the advantage. They had the economic advantage. Capitalist or private enterprises that are owned by banks and investors have, where the fuck was I going with this? By the way, I started this. That's another thing. That's a part of this. That's weed. I went to, one of the reasons I moved to California. One of the many, many reasons. Many, many reasons. So yeah, you can't compete against farmers who own slaves if you're not going to do slaves. So if you're not going to hire slaves, those other farmers that have slaves are going to be able to outcompete you because slavery is cheap. So how do you get rid of the system of slavery? Well, you have to pass an entire amendment that makes it completely illegal for slavery to exist. That way, there's none of this bullshit competition, right? There's none of this, oh, you get to decide if slavery is okay, right? That was the dialogue at the time, right? You decide if you want to be moral, right? I can be immoral and own slaves. You decide if you want to own slaves, and we get to make our own decision, right? That was the whole fucking thing at the time. But it's like, no, that's still fucked up because farmers who own slaves have an economic advantage to farmers who don't have slaves. And slavery is fucked up. So we got to move to the new system, but the new system, you have to fucking revolt against the system itself. You have to completely change the system. And so for the same reason, capitalism needs to flip on its ass completely, right? You can't just half-ass from capitalism to socialism because slavery is immoral. Full fucking stop. Elon Musk made it very clear. The limit as a company benefits its consumers, or I forgot how he worded it. The idea is that the end result of a company is a monopoly, and the monopoly is the government. So that's the ideal, where you have one company for all these different sectors and kind of absorbs other companies. monopolies are good in socialism. They're good in fucking socialism. It's okay to group together and shit and work together. That's the fucking point, right? When you have NVIDIA buying ARM, right? Everyone freaks out and they say, oh, look at that. It's NVIDIA flexing again. It's NVIDIA flexing that they can buy whoever the fuck they want. They can buy an entire chip designer and no one just like says, hey, isn't this monopoly? Doesn't this violate some antitrust laws or something like that? No, it doesn't. They could do that. They can get away with that. And you know what? All of their videos, go on YouTube right now and look up NVIDIA, and you'll find out that all of their videos, you can't comment on them. You can't comment on them. You know why? Because they're fucking corrupt and they know it. And they know it. They don't want you to say anything about it. So that's NVIDIA. But my point is that when you look at that scenario, though, it actually makes sense. NVIDIA makes graphics cards. ARM makes computer chips. They can work together. So wait a minute. In capitalism, it's a bad idea to work together because you're trying to compete against each other. But in socialism, and as Elon Musk mentions, the limit is monopoly power, and those monopolies are controlled by the people. And if you think of it as, I'm quoting Elon Musk, if you change the operating system a little bit, then you can, which means basically fuck the government, give the government back to the people kind of a thing, where you, for example, give Tesla to the workers, give Google to the workers, to the software engineers. You know, that's how it should fucking be. That's what it should be. Software engineers should be deciding what Google does. Tesla engineers should be deciding what Google does. Not just Elon Musk. Elon Musk should not be the sole fucking decider of what happens with Tesla, because Elon Musk is not that fucking smart. I know he's smart, but he's not that fucking smart, right? You can give some of the fucking vote to the banks. No, that's stupid. You don't give the fucking votes to the banks. You don't give the votes to the grandmas with 401ks. You give the votes to the software engineers, to the mechanics, the people who build the shit, right? They should own the shit that they build, and they should have some of those profits. Like the whole concept of commission. Think about commission for a second. Commission makes sense, doesn't it? Monopolies make sense. They make sense in a socialism environment. They make perfect fucking sense. So, I don't know. The thing is, there are things that are taboo in capitalism. Monopolies, for example, it's taboo. Monopolies are bad, right? It's bad for them to, but here we are in capitalism and we see all these fucking monopolies starting to show up, right? Where are the monopolies coming from? Oh yeah, it's good to fucking work together. Oh yeah, it's okay for NVIDIA to say, hey, we make graphics cards and they make computer chips and we think we can work together and build some cool shit. That fucking makes sense, actually. So NVIDIA is doing a good thing, but we live in a capitalist environment. And so this totally fucks the consumers, and this totally fucks, like, everything bad that could happen here is happening because of capitalism, because we have this slavery mindset. So all the money's, all the wealth, all of it is going to like 10 people. Okay, that's what it is. Whereas all of the wealth can be given to the people who are fucking making this stuff. That's what I think. Okay, let me get to some. Okay, sorry. Let me get to the live chat. As you can see, I have a lot to say. As you can see, hey, here's the cool thing. I don't have a job. So this is my job now. I don't have a job because I was able to use mathematics to make some fucking things, and things worked out, and here I am now. I have I'm okay. Don't donate to me. I'm fine. So this is great. I'm cool. This is great. I'm good with this. So let's go through the live chat. Tony Herndon says, are you originally from the East Coast? So no, I'm from Arizona. Don't ask why it took me a while. You probably know why it took me a while. Okay. I do mix them up. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. So then Tony Tony Herden says, wow, I'm so glad that you became a socialist. Not a lot of social Dems do that. By the way, you are not wrong. I am a socialist. Great. Let's be fucking socialists together. Let's decide that whatever we make, that we can have that shit, right? I want to cut. That's the fucking thing. If I make it, I want to cut. That's that should fucking make sense. I don't know. Jesus says, I was wondering what happened to you. A lot happened. Henry Gustav says, hashtag general strike, hashtag MMT, learn MMT. Yeah, definitely. Hashtag general strike 100%. I'm pushing that very, very fucking hard. And for all of you, by the way, hashtag general strike is something that a lot of YouTubers are hesitating on, if you haven't noticed. Why is that? It's kind of unfortunate. All right. Jesus says, hey, Henry, haven't seen you in years. Looks like I have. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Hey, Jesus. I've been cut out of it a while. Yeah, I've kind of like disconnected you two, I guess. Jesus says another problem was if the slaves left, they had nowhere to go to get a job. Yeah, that's fucked up. So staying on the plantation was actually a better choice. Right. So when you have capitalism and slavery, of course slavery is going to fuck up the whole system and benefit the rich and hurt the poor. And so what do they do in response? They fix the slavery in that specific part of our economic system. That one, the one about race, right? The whole part about employer-employee being a whole master-slave thing, the thing that, kind of pisses off everyone, the fact that no one can have a say against their managers, ever. Unions, by the way, are fucking stupid because they, I like them, but the problem is they're ultimately not the solution. If you don't have socialism, then unions will always lack the leverage that the board of directors have. Whoever has the money, they have the power. That's the whole point, right? And so unions will never have power. Unions are designed to not have power. All right, so I'm going on sidetracks, and that's probably because of this thing. That's fine. Whatever. Andre Mader, I don't know how to say your last name. I'm sorry. I'm really terrible with names. I'm so glad you're unapologetically defining yourself as a socialist. That is the only way to reverse the negative baggage that word has. Quick question. Yeah, I totally agree, by the way. 100% agree. Quick question. How did you find out you had ADHD? Great question. So I was originally diagnosed with ADD when I was young. And then my parents, well, I'm not going to say anything on live, but basically, I was told that because my medication wasn't working, that I must not have ADHD. And diagnosing someone because a medication doesn't work. So when a treatment doesn't work, it must be because you don't have the cause. So that was the science and I was young and I was, so, and then I go through college and, taking 27 credit hours. I went to, 2 PhD programs and shit. And yeah, it was a fucking, I was teaching college classes. I don't know. I taught at 2 colleges. That was fun. ADHD, the thing is you start up a bunch of shit, right? Like politics YouTube channels. But at least I'm getting a lot more. I'm getting help for it at least. That's the whole fucking. That's the reason why I got diagnosed. I was in doubt that I had it. I thought, I don't think I have it because this doctor's telling me I don't have it, and I feel like I can get a lot done. But the thing was, I was getting a lot of weird, the whole problem back then was the way they communicated what ADD was terrible, right? What they the word ADHD is fucked up because people with ADHD don't have a deficit of attention at all. At all. Actually, I have a lot of attention, but my attention is directed all over the fucking place, right? And so I'm telling myself I want to do a live stream every fucking day at 5 p.m. Probably not going to happen. Right? Because that's the whole thing with ADHD. But that's one of the. It's a very multifaceted thing, and so coming to grips with realizing like, hey, all of these things that have been happening over the last 5 or 10 years, when I was not diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, during that gap, I'm going through all this and in denial, and I was a Christian, by the way, so I thought, oh, God healed me or whatever, right? So there was that too, and so I just kind of rejected this notion that I had ADHD, but then later on. I looked into it and, sure enough, I have all the symptoms of ADHD. And so my attention goes all over the place, which is why I hesitate quite a bit to do live streams, but that's I'm here now. So this is a kind of a tough choice to do. I'm putting a lot of effort into it, and, I'm here to stay. I mean, like I said, I automated my post-production process, and so hopefully I can pump out like 4 to 6 videos a day, which would be great. The next comment was also from Andre I'm gonna try it. I don't know. No, I'm not gonna try it. My best wishes, hopefully that won't stop you from being on the right side of history like you have been until now. Enjoying your streams. Thanks, man. Being on the right side of history, yeah, socialism is the right side of history. That's my belief. Yes, monopolies. So this is Henry Gustav. Yes, monopolies have all the power, which means UBI does not empower you except to feed profits. Can you clarify what you mean by that? UBI does not empower you except to feed profits. I'm not quite sure what that means. I wish I knew what that means. Sorry. Henry Gustav says, hey, Kody, I know you don't agree with my economic views, but I hope you can look into it. There is no Green New Deal without knowledge of MMT, no Medicare for all, no jobs guarantee, no tuition colleges. I'll look into it. I heard a lot about this MMT thing, and I have not done my homework on it, and that's pretty bad because I know they're a pretty big fucking deal right now. But anyways, I'll definitely look into that today. Tony Herndon says, I think a long time ago you once said that you thought guns should be banned, but most socialists are actually pro-gun. Karl Marx said the workers must not be disarmed. So my belief is that Harvard research suggests that guns have absolutely... So here's how I see it, right? When I look at policy as a utilitarian, so this is the reason why I went and thought about this and thought, what is the underlying structure that I look at everything? So I'm looking at your response from a utilitarian perspective. So a utilitarian just wants to maximize the happiness for everyone. Now, Harvard has some research as to what banning guns does. And I'll link to, here, let me make a note. I'll link in the description what there's a list of conclusions that they came up with from the literature review they did from all the research around gun violence and gun control. And some of the conclusions, all the conclusions suggest that guns should be banned. Guns should be completely banned. I don't think you can take them away per se, but I think you need to make it illegal to own a gun, to have a gun in sight, like to see a gun outside at all. I think that should be illegal. That's my personal belief. And the thing is, that belief does not stem from any philosophy other than utilitarianism, and science, and which is the second framework that I was talking about. So the Harvard's research, it's very clear that no matter what scale you're looking at, guns kill people. So that's, it's the whole car safety thing, right? You have seatbelts. Why do you have seatbelts? Well, because you don't want to. You want to prevent deaths. Well, seatbelts are expensive and it's inconvenient and whatever. Like, really? Like, if you're shooting guns, right? And you're getting a thrill out of like a certain like G-force or whatever, or a force getting off of your arm or whatever, and then you have like an accuracy game, right? That can be perfectly simulated in many different ways, right? The future's coming, so if you're annoyed at that, like, I think we're coming into a point where guns are going to be completely fucking pointless. That's my point. I think guns are going to be completely pointless. And I think, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about anything authoritarian or anything, but I do think that public safety is going to look a lot different when technology starts ramping up here. I think public safety is going to look a lot different. Let me keep reading these comments. Tony Herndon says, I am curious, were you born into wealth? Yes and no. So, none of the wealth was given to me. It's like, the answer is yes, but the people who owned the wealth didn't actually really... this is a really... I don't know how to say this. I don't want to say anything on live stream. Yeah, I don't want to say anything on live stream. But, so yes, I was born into wealth. But when I left my parents, I started with nothing, zero, and I have no influence whatsoever from... So my background comes from that, yes, like from 0 to 18, that raised in, well, the first half I was raised in poverty, the second half I was raised in absolute wealth. And so, I was in both, kind of, but now I'm just kind of okay. That's where I'm at right now. I'm okay. Relatively speaking, I'm okay. But I'm not loaded. Don't think I'm loaded. Don't think I'm fucking rich. I'm not. I'm definitely not. Yeah, these things back here I got a long time ago. Like, this is an N64 game, right? Like, I'm not rich. Don't think I'm rich. All right. Andre, I can't say your name. I'm sorry. Thank you, Kody. Yeah, no problem. Henry Gustav says, giving people a UBI can help them, but eventually that money flows to the top anyways. Yeah, that's totally fine. So how do you fix that? Wealth tax. So first off, with socialism, fuck the income tax, right? Income tax doesn't even make any sense. Why should you be taxed for making products? Why should you be disincentivized? The whole concept of an income tax is total bullshit, right? We should be... Think of it this way, right? Let's say you make a bunch of money, right? Which, let's say I did that. And let's say you have to pay a bunch of taxes for that. And then you lose all of your money, but you still have to pay all your taxes, right? That may have happened. And now I have to pay taxes for 5 years, right? There's a lot of weird shit here. But anyways, my point is that income tax has a lot of flaws for obvious reasons. What should be taxed, in my opinion, is wealth, right? So there comes a point in time, like, if you have no money, you shouldn't be taxed. If you have a little bit of money, you shouldn't be taxed. If you have even some, like $100,000, you shouldn't be taxed. But like at some point, you should start to say, okay, you start spending that fucking money, right? That's what you should be doing. That's what you should be doing. You should be spending that money. You shouldn't be owning that money. So look at Elon Musk, right? He's the richest guy in the world. He is not the richest guy in the world. That measurement includes ownership of a company or an idea. That company has no intrinsic value, right? So in a sense, he doesn't really own anything other than his house. He gave a bunch of shit. He's still fucking rich, by the way. He's still absolutely rich, but he gave a lot of his shit away. He doesn't have tons of homes that are just sitting there empty, right? By the way, we have 135 million homes right now, and we only need 116 million families to fill those homes. We have about 30 to 50 million empty housing units right now in the US. 30 to 50 fucking empty housing units. The people that own them, they're the fucked up ones. That's fucked up. When you own wealth that you don't even fucking use, that should be taxed, not income tax. Your income should be completely tax-free. You should be encouraged to make fucking shit, right? You should be given subsidies to work. That's how it should work. People who own enormous amounts of actual wealth, not companies, but like houses, actual goods, right? Actual fucking products, right? I don't know. You guys already get the picture. I mean, I'm kicking a dead horse, right? So I don't think I answered the question. So giving people a UBI can help them, but eventually that money flows to the top. So what you do is when you have a wealth tax, people who own lots of money, they have to decide, do I spend the money? Or do I get taxed? And so a lot of rich people will choose to get taxed, which is fine. You know, if they don't need that fucking house, give it to a fucking homeless person. What? 30 to 50 million empty housing units. And how many homeless people? Oh yeah, 500,000, 500,000. So for every homeless person in the US right now, there are 60 empty housing units. I'll say that again. In the US right now in 2019, no one's fucking talking about it. No one's talking about it. You know, the homeless crisis, right? They don't give you the numbers. Why don't they give you the numbers? Because it's really fucking embarrassing. It makes capitalism look bad. We have 500,000 people who are homeless and 30 to 50 million empty houses. What the fuck is not happening here is that the resources are not being distributed efficiently. Capitalism is supposed to make things efficient. Where's the efficiency there? You have 500,000 people who need a home, 30 to 50 million people who don't have homes. Where's the efficiency? I don't see it. I think anyone with a fucking 5-year-old brain or older, even younger than that, I think, can look at that and say, that doesn't really make sense, right? You can put the pegs in the holes, right? That's what you could do. But that's the problem. That's one of the problems with capitalism and even social democracy, right? Social democracy is not going to fix that. You think housing rights are actually going to be followed through with properly in a capitalist environment? You're going to have people in between. You're going to have fucking people. Look at capitalism and healthcare. You think Medicare for all is a good solution? No. Fucking nationalized health service from the UK is a much better model than the Canadian model. And if you don't agree with that, then you're not paying attention to the fucking numbers, right? Utilitarians seek to maximize happiness, right? So if you look at the countries that are the most happy, you adopt their systems. And what do you know? When you completely socialize healthcare, it makes sense. It works better. You have right-wing politicians, people who are on the right side. They're admitting that the National Healthcare Service in the UK is amazing. They fucking do parades and shit. NHS is so much better. Why should a bank decide what a hospital does? Why should banks be giving these fucking loans? Every time you vote on a ballot, by the way, just want to say, when you vote on a ballot, you are probably going to be voting on 2 or 3 issues that say, hey, do you want to give a $5 million bond to this thing? Hey, do you want to give the school system a $50 million bond for this thing? Right? That's what you see on the ballots. That's called, hey, can we let the banks decide what they do? That's what it is. That's what it really is, right? Can we give the banks the leverage over these industries? That's what it is. That's what you're voting on. And you have to say yes, because if you say no, then they don't get the money. Because of capitalism. That's why. Capitalism does not work with socialism. The whole concept of a mixed economy is a failed system. It doesn't work. We tried that. We've been trying to try that for a very fucking long time. And as Dr. Richard Wolff describes, when feudalism ended, there were capitalist governments that propped up here and there, and then they failed, right? They popped up and they failed. Well, socialism has been tried before. It popped up and it failed. It popped up and it failed. It popped up and it failed. But as Dr. Richard Wolff describes, we've learned from our mistakes. And what have we learned? We've learned that we don't give power to the government. The government should not have the power. The power should be given to the people. We need a direct democracy. So with socialism, you give power to the workers, not the government. That was tried before. That was a former or communism or whatever it was. Still doing my research, obviously. So please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yeah, so we know what we did wrong, and now we know where we're going, and we're going towards socialism. And even the richest guy in the world believes that, Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk says he doesn't believe in socialism, but listen to his words. Listen to what he advocates for. He advocates, he says that in the long run, if you have an efficient consumer-supplier feedback loop, then eventually you're going to have monopolies, and then those monopolies need to be basically owned. They will be the government, essentially. That will be and that government will be owned by its workers. That's what Elon Musk talked about. So even the richest guy in the world knows we're going to socialism. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's keep going down these comments here. Wow, I'm getting more comments. That's awesome. Thank you, everyone. Tony Herndon says, I recommend you look into the Canadian socialist YouTuber Jason Unruh. I don't know how to say that. I think I have, actually. I think I am subscribed to him. I'll take a look at... yeah, let me write this down, though. Let me double check. So this is... Yeah, I'm new to the socialist thing. So this is sort of new. I'm not a pro, right? I'm not extremely familiar with all the literature and shit and all the history, but I'm pretty fucking familiar with where we should be going, right? I think that's kind of obvious. I think. I don't know. So who is this? I need to look at the name. It was Jason Unruh or whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm subbed to that guy. I'm not. Okay. I subbed. Cool. 41K subscribers. Cool. I'll be looking into that. Thank you. So next comment, Henry Gustav says, yes, we can eliminate FICA taxes and the federal government can still pay out for Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Sorry, I'm not quite sure what that means. Sorry. Next comment from Henry Gustav, tax to lower income inequality and power of the wealthy, but taxing to get revenue is unnecessary for federal government, as we saw with the CARES Act. I agree. So taxes, ultimately, you want the government. I'm a libertarian socialist, and so I don't like the concept of having big government. I don't like the concept of government. As Elon Musk says, the government is a monopoly that can't file for bankruptcy, in theory, and then it totally fucking collapses on itself. So yeah, get rid of that. I don't want that. right? And so, yeah, I think the only role of the government, the only role of the Federal Reserve should be to implement a UBI. And that UBI can be mathematically designed to redistribute wealth. You can redistribute wealth in an efficient way, and in a democratic way. There are tons of mathematicians that research into this shit, and then no one fucking looks into it. It sucks, because there are really good ideas. There are some really fucking fantastic ideas. Next comment from Henry Gustav. Yes, exactly, but the government does not need to rely on the wealthy for their tax money. We can house the homeless immediately if we have the actual housing for us. Money is not an issue for the federal government. I agree. When it comes to housing should be a right. Medicare for all should be a right. That's my belief. I think UBI should be a right. I think that's pretty much should be the main roles of the government is to essentially provide safety and shit, right? Like as limited as possible, and Medicare for all falls under that, right? Your safety, your health is your safety. I don't know why the government hasn't figured that out yet, right? You want to protect you from terrorists, but not from like fucking cancer, right? That's the U.S. government. So Medicare for all should definitely be a part of the role of the government in protecting us. But it's a very limited role. I don't like big government. I'm not a big fan. Tony Herndon says, you have Nintendo games. Were you a 90s baby? Yes, I was born in 1994. I am 27. Yes, this is Zelda. So this is my favorite fucking game right here. This is Zelda Ocarina of Time. If you have not played this game, I don't know. I don't want to know you. This is Turok 2. Great fucking game. Great fucking game. Literally, hold on. Look at this. Hold on. Fucking look at this. Hold on. You see that? It says, oh, come on. Hold on. It can get it. Right there. It says, property of Blockbuster. Did I fucking steal it? Did I steal it? Did I fucking steal it? I don't know. Where did the other one go? Oh, here's the third one. Anyways, let's pretend that wasn't actually property of Blockbuster. This next one is Zelda Majora's Mask, which is the sequel to Zelda Ocarina of Time. Fantastic fucking game. Absolutely fantastic game. Very original. No one has done anything like it since, and it's a shame. It's a shame. Okay, let's keep going through these comments. Henry Gustav says, they don't need to get money from the rich before they can spend. Dollars are issued on a keyboard when Congress passes legislation or a budget. Federal government spends tax issues bonds. It does not tax. Sorry, you're going to have to be a little bit more clear. I'm sorry. Maybe you can explain it a little bit more. Flaz says this. Thank you. Henry Gustav says, sorry, kind of high right now. Me too, bro. Let's go right now. R.I.P. Blockbuster. I still have the fucking sticker on it. That's hilarious. All right, let's keep reading these comments. There's the cough. You guys are gonna hear a lot of coughs. All right. Henry Gustav says, "Yep, National Healthcare Service, please." I think it's called National Healthcare I don't know what it is, but it's cool. I like it. Makes sense. It's getting private enterprise and banks and shit completely away from the healthcare sector because they don't belong there. They do not belong there. Tony Herndon says, have you ever heard of anarchism? Yes, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Sorry. It's a little bit too far for me. It's a little bit too far for me. Henry Gustav says, federal taxes function to control inflation. This is how fiat money works. Operational reality. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Jesus says, I'm in favor of big efficient government. You're in favor of big efficient government. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, of course. I think anyone who says otherwise is not listening to the premise of that. Henry Gustav says, Ocarina of Time, wow, that was a great game. Absolutely it was. Absolutely it was. Henry Gustav says, I mean, it does not tax, then spend, then issue bonds. That's the order of operations. You're saying it does not, but then you're saying that is the I'm sorry. You're fucking confusing me, man. I'm sorry. In order for there to be dollars in economy to tax, the federal government has to have spent those dollars into the economy in the first place. Spend, tax, borrow, not tax, borrow, spend. Maybe you're on a whole different plane than me on the economic side of things. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say. I'm sorry, I lost that. Tony Herndon says, maybe it was this. I'm sorry. Maybe it was just this. Yeah, it probably was. Tony Herndon says, what made you go from a social democrat to a libertarian socialist? What was the final straw? Great fucking question. The final straw was when I watched that debate with Dr. Richard Wolff and the capitalists. I forgot, at the Soho Forum. Look up that video. It's a great, fantastic video. I'll show you all that clip I made that I put on my page. By the way, we have 7 people here, so I'll show you that clip in a second. It's if you rewind in this video, if you move the live thing, it's like right. I can't move my finger there. Like over here, just slide it back. You can probably find the video. I'll show you the video in a moment. But yeah, that video has a clip from Dr. Richard Wolff and from that Soho Forum, and it's the point that I put in the video kind of sums up the whole thing, the whole fucking debate. So that was the big thing. Now, the thing that kind of started it, right? It wasn't just like I woke up one day and just decided I was a fucking socialist, right? These kind of epistemological obstacles don't just get solved overnight, right? So originally, the whole fucking thing that started the fire, but from me deciding to go from social democrat to socialist, the thing that really started the fire is when I realized that Bernie Sanders was going to lose in 2020 or 2019. I don't remember. I think it was 2020. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, so when he lost, I realized that the system is designed to make him lose. That was the whole point. And as Jimmy Dore said, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were the exact picks from CNN right when they ran. Like they ran early. They did their pitch and all, and everyone just decided, yeah, it's Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Those are the two. Those are the two up front. And so they propped them up, and then they were losing. Right? Joe Biden was losing to Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders was getting some shit, right? Because his ideas are popular. So what happened after that? Well, then you go to South Carolina and you see the night before, you see a bunch of fucking what you thought were progressives all of a sudden endorsed Joe Biden. Andrew Yang endorsed Joe Biden. And I was like, really? Like you had UBI and you go and Medicare for all and a human-centered capitalism. That was the 3 big fucking things in your whole thing, and you endorse Biden? Really? Why? What's the reason, right? And there was no reason. The reason is because they're sellouts. They're fucking sellouts. And if they're not like financial sellouts, they're fucking cowards. That's what they are. Yeah, so that's what happened. And so when I saw that, I realized, hey, look, it's the system destroying it. It's the system preventing the reformers from reforming. That's what that was. If 2020 was not proof of that, then you're not paying attention. 2020 was proof that the reformers can't reform the system by design. That's the design, right? See, here's the problem that everyone's trying to like pretend isn't a problem, right? We're all here. We all agree that we need to get money into politics. That's not even a fucking issue anymore, I don't think. We all know that that's not gonna, that a law banning that is gonna pass. Like we all know that that's not gonna go through Congress because they're all sold out, right? And so we all know that we're just kind of like waiting for a problem to not be solved. There's no fucking solution here. Oh, the solution is you gotta vote for Democrats who also don't believe in, and you see AOC with the hashtag force the vote. Look at her fucking response. Look at Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. Look how they voted on the CARES Act. Look how much they advocated for Medicare for all on the floor. Look how hard they protested. Look at how much they yelled. Look at how many times they voted for Nancy Pelosi. I mean, what's the fucking difference between AOC and Pelosi? I'm really confused. Can someone explain it to me in the comments? Because I don't see it, right? I don't see the difference. So that's my thought. And so I forgot where I was fucking going with this, everyone. I was explaining the spark, right? The spark that kind of convinced me to go from social democrat to socialist. So I started realizing, like, oh my gosh, the system realized, like what happened in 2020 was the system realized and like grew awareness. Hey, I feel like something is trying to kill me, right? That's what the system said. And so what it did was it said, okay, so let's put a bunch of rich people and make them spend like 0.1% of their income, and that'll solve the problem. So that's what the system did, right? Think of the system as like a human body with a bunch of functions, right? And that's the capitalism part, right? I know this is a weird fucking, this is the high me. This is the, anyways, my point is that everything unfolded before your eyes on purpose. That was the point. The system is designed to stay capitalist until you boot the system out. For the same reason that you can't just fix slavery by just telling people, hey, you pick, you decide. Do you want to do slaves? You decide. You can be moral, good, be moral. Don't have slaves, right? It's your choice. My choice. I'm right. That was the whole libertarian argument back then. But here's the problem. Slavery's fucked up. You can't fucking compromise there. You can't do any half-assies there, right? Like you have to solve the problem, right? In order to solve the problem, you got to abolish slavery completely, 100% across the board. You can't just say like, oh, they can do it though, right? And that's essentially what happened anyways, but through like prisons and shit. And that's where we're at right now. We're in a fucked up system and no one has any solutions. And everyone's just cool with it, right? Everyone's fucking cool with it. So that's when I started to realize that the whole concept of voting for Bernie Sanders and everything, like, it was all a fucking show. It was all a fucking show. It's all waving hands. You know, when the time mattered, look what's happening right now. What is it? January 24th. House is controlled by Democrats. Senate's controlled by Democrats. Executives controlled by Democrats. Where's my fucking $2,000? Do you understand my point? We have a pipeline that's completely clean right now. We can pass whatever we fucking want through that pipeline, right? House is fine. Senate's fine. You don't need to compromise with Republicans or anything like that. And so where's the fucking change? Where's the reform? I thought we were going to reform the system, right? Social Democrats wanted to reform the system. And then what happened? And then they got fucking shat on, right? Get shit on. That's what happened. Fucking all of the Social Democrats got shit on, right? That was the whole fucking message in 2020. That was the whole message in 2020. Is all of you social Dems that think that you can get what you fucking want, fuck you. That was the whole thing, right? That was the message I got from the government, at least. So yeah, that was the start, and then eventually I watched that video from Dr. Richard Wolff and The Capitalist. They talked, and I liked how Dr. Richard Wolff framed socialism and talked about how the history of socialism is kind of perverted in American history and in American education and in American media. And I looked it up, and it's right. He's right. It's completely correct. I mean, socialism is democracy at the workplace. By the way, if you don't know who Dr. Richard Wolff is, search up on YouTube, Democracy at the Workplace, and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Subscribe to that YouTube channel right now. The guy's a professor and a socialist. I don't agree with him completely on how we get there. I think I'm a lot more of a revolutionary than he is. I think he wants... I think he thinks he wants fast change. I think he wants slow change. I think what he wants is kind of the Jeremy Corbyn type thing from the UK, which is you have the government give loans to... So this is the Jeremy Corbyn socialism. So this is how it works. You say, okay, all the businesses... If you want to sell your company or IPO or whatever, if you want to give a part of your company away, you have to first offer your company to the workers. First offer it to the workers. Now, in response, you say, well, where are the workers going to get all that money, right? Well, then you mandate that the government has to give the business a loan at a 0% interest rate for a very, very long time, enough for them. I mean, that could be figured out, and then they can own their business, right? That was Dr. Richard Wolff's idea. And then slowly what happens is you go from private enterprises to worker co-ops. But in that transition, by the way, I just want you to pay attention. This is where I disagree with Dr. Richard Wolff. In that transition, you have worker co-ops competing with private enterprises that are owned by banks and shit that seek to maximize profit. These two things cannot compete efficiently because slavery is always cheaper. And so slavery is always going to win in a capitalist environment, right? And so you can't have a mix of the two. You can't do worker co-ops because worker co-ops are inefficient by design, because the goal of worker co-ops is not to maximize profit. That is not the goal of a worker co-op, right? That is not their goal. Their goal is to make all the workers fucking happy. That's the goal. To maximize the happiness of the workers. The workers get to decide how they do that. To give them a democracy. You put the democracy in the workplace, as Dr. Richard Wolff describes it. Now, I personally think that yeah, you can't transition like that. You can't do an incremental change like that. Like, you can't slowly transition like that. I don't think that's too slow. Technology is advancing way too fucking fast. All of our jobs are going to be automated in like 5 years anyways. If you think I'm fucking kidding, then look at Elon Musk. The richest guy in the world says it. And I agree with him because we already have like things like GPT-3 that can basically pass Turing tests. Okay, if you're not paying attention to the shit, the shit that AI researchers are doing right now, then you need to start paying attention, because we're getting really fucking close to an artificial generalized intelligence, which will eventually lead to a technological singularity, as every fucking tech giant CEO has been warning about. So, and you know, everyone's like crying about global warming, which is not, in my opinion, not the number one issue. Okay, global warming is looking like it could be solved with technological innovation. It's starting to look like that. We need to really consider investing in that research, right? And Elon Musk is investing in it. Not a lot, $100 million. Really fucking pathetic when you own over $100 billion. And that's how much you value that research, Elon Musk. That's kind of honestly fucking sad, right? That's capitalism. That's the result of capitalism. And so forgot where I was going with this. This is I had a brain fart. So I have ADHD, everyone. By the way, I'm putting this whole live stream. I have moments where I just like brain fart. Someone can catch me up where I was. I'm sorry. I think I was talking about, okay, hold on, here we go. I think I was talking about Dr. Richard Wolff wanting a slow transition and how I'm not in favor of that. I think slow transitions are just like, it's the same argument with slavery when they were trying to abolish slavery. Let's do a slow transition. Let's just slowly ban it. Let's do No, you fucking ban it. You ban slavery. You ban capitalism. Capitalism is slavery. If you don't agree with that, then you don't know what capitalism is. Then you don't understand what an employer-employee relationship is. You see that as a frenzy thing? No, it's not a frenzy thing. It's a master-slave. That's what it is. You have no fucking say. If you think you have a say, then you're in the wrong fucking, like, you're not paying attention to your job. That's what it is, right? Employers have the final say. And that's wrong. That's wrong, right? They shouldn't have the only fucking final say. That's fucked up. It's my thing. Anyways, let's keep going. That was a long answer to a great question of what was the final straw. It's Andre Madeira. Andre Madeira. Thank you. I'll try to remember that if I see you around. Henry Gustav says, that means government doesn't need to tax for revenue. I don't know what that is. Sorry. Pronouns are hard for live chat. Henry Gustav says, a little sorry, I don't know how else to explain it. I think the problem is you're using the words like it and it's hard to, like, for me to know what pronoun you're using it for. So maybe I mean that's the thing I have a problem with live chats being able to go up and down, and yeah, well. Anyways, Tony Herndon says progressive politics was once interviewed by Ben Shapiro, and he actually said he does not think healthcare should be free at the point of service. He said people should have skin in the game. Right, that was Andrew Yang. Yes, that was Andrew Yang. He was interviewed by Ben Shapiro, and he thinks that they should have skin in the game. That interview, by the way, was after he was a friend of Medicare for All. So that was right at the transition. That point was right when things started to, like, what's happening here? What's happening with Andrew Yang? But of course, everyone in America wants to attach to people because they're too dumb to understand that people in politics are not what you vote for. You vote for policy and platform and ideology and philosophy, right? That's what you vote for. And so people get attached to teams and parties and, right? Fuck parties. We shouldn't have any parties, right? I'm not on your team. You think you're on my team? We're all fucking different, right? That's the whole point. How do we be divided and how can we be united and divided at the same time? A direct democracy. That's how. That's the only fucking way. Not being represented by people who I don't like, right? There's no, as Michael Malice said on Lex Friedman's YouTube channel, there's no reason why we should be governed by people who we disapprove of, who we don't agree with. That makes no sense. Why? Why should we be governed by those people if I don't agree with them? If none of us agree with them, then why are we governed by those people? That's what I think. Okay, so Jesus says federal taxes do 4 things. First, they drive currency, meaning you need dollars because it's the only way to pay taxes. That's why everyone is willing to accept dollars for real things. Number 2, controlling inflation. All federal taxes are destroyed, so it reduces purchasing power. Number 3, you dictate behavior, meaning tax things that you deem toxic to society. And 4, you control wealth. You tax billionaires so that they can't buy government. I think that's close. I think that's a good idea. It's on the right path. I think it needs to be a little bit more. I need more information. Tony Herndon says, "Lol, sorry, I was talking about Andrew Yang." Yeah, I figured. Jesus says, "Not 1 penny of federal tax is used for revenue." I'm a little confused with what that means. Flesk, I think I said your name wrong, sorry, says the skin in the game theory is silly at best. It is. I totally agree. You should not have any skin in the game when it comes to your fucking healthcare. What? Like we should be gambling with our fucking lives? What? Like that's what it is, right? You're gambling with your life. That's what I don't know, you don't like it worded that way maybe, but that's what it is. Jesus says that's the day communism wins. I don't know what that is. Tony Herndon says, did you hear that Bernie Sanders recently voted for Averil Haines for the Biden administration? She was once in charge of Obama's military drone program. She helped work on Kill List. I'm not surprised. I didn't hear for that, but I'm not surprised. Bernie Sanders is just Nancy Pelosi in disguise. If you don't agree with me, then you're not paying attention. Bernie Sanders is Nancy Pelosi in disguise. If you don't agree with me, you're not paying attention. Okay. Flesk says Elon could do a lot more, definitely, but he also trolls cave rescuers on Twitter in Thailand, so he's got some issues too. He does have some issues. I agree with you for that. 100%. 100%. Henry Gustav says, I think to drive the point home, federal taxes take dollars out of the economy. They destroy dollars. If you were to pay your taxes in cash, they would satisfy your tax liabilities and then shred it. I still don't know what the point that you're trying to drive home. Federal tax dollars. So why are you driving this point home? That's what I'm curious. All right, I'm going to keep going to videos. I have videos for you all. I'm going to do videos here. First off, let me show you all this video I made yesterday. And this is this is on my main page. This is the YouTube channel. This is progressive politics. This is what I represent. This is what happens if you take everything in here that I want to say on this channel and put it in a 2.5 minute video. So take a look.
Hashtag force to vote has made me realize there isn't a left in America, and that's the problem. There even the thing we all agree on, we couldn't agree on when it came time to do it. Half the left said, don't be mean, and let's wait for a better time. We're in the middle of a deadly pandemic. The left is completely lost.
We are just deprived of a national conversation about anything to the extent that we have one. It's just about these stupid culture war issues. It's not about what's really happening right now.
Make sure that the working poor and barely middle class in this country have a system that answers to them.
BLM, Antifa, Boogaloo, 3%ers, right-wing militias, they are not the irrational ones. If the government continues to be illegitimate and tyrannical and uncaring, the summer will be nothing compared to what is to come.
There's absolutely no reason for you to be governed by someone you disapprove of. This is an incoherent, nonsensical concept. The only reason we even take it as a hypothesis is that we're trained to the contrary since kindergarten.
As a general rule, people are pretty reasonable. And so they'll usually pick the thing that makes the most sense.
In a system where it felt like chaos or collapse would be something which would inspire some kind of, natural, organic, democratic control, I could get behind that.
We don't have democracy in our workplaces. We never did. The commitment to democracy is verbal in this society, limited to that voting activity where we live, but not where we work.
If you want the government to be carefully focused on ensuring the rules of the game are what we actually want them to be, that we're getting rid of old rules, this is very important, which is not occurring.
And then I started paying attention to the rise of AI and automation and how many jobs are going to get taken away from. And then once you see the actual numbers, it's pretty staggering.
Yeah, and that's how I got there, Joe.
We have all of these resources available. There are so many empty houses in this country. There are so many empty apartment buildings, but there are so many people who are living on the street because they can't afford to pay that bill.
Yeah, so that's the big thing that I want to put on my YouTube channel. That's the thing I want everyone to see when they first get on. So that's like that's the framework behind this YouTube channel. So now you know, like, where am I going with this, right? Like, where was I and where am I going? I used to be a Christian, crazy, Pete Buttigieg kind of Democrat, and now I'm a, socialist. What the fuck happened, right? Well, that's what happened. That video is kind of like the summary of it all, if you want to think of it that way. All right, so let's do some actual news stories. How about that? Because there's some really cool, crazy shit that's going on. Let me pull up one. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. All right, let me prep up, and then we'll get going. So there are protesters in Portland still. There are still protesters in Portland. They still haven't gotten they're not being heard at all. So let's hear what they have to say. After all this time, what is it that they have to say? So let's take a look at this video and then we'll talk about it. So listen to what he just said. He's completely correct. He's saying what Kyle Kalinske said, which is, I guess, what The Who said, which is probably what someone else said. But meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Joe Biden is basically the same thing, just in doing different things that make it look cute, right? Joe Biden is just Trump in a bow. That's what it is. It's Trump in a bow. It's a neat Trump in a bow. That's all Joe Biden is. And so he's completely correct. Let's keep watching. So let me just clarify something real quick. She is, again, completely correct. There are tons of ideas like Medicare for all, housing rights, universal basic income, tons of great ideas that we're not trying. And we can try. We have the resources to try some of this shit. And we're not trying it. And we're not trying it on purpose. And so if you think about a giant strike that goes on for a long time, like hashtag general strike, the reason why there's a hashtag general strike is because people have so many fucking problems that the solutions that we need, they're just so many that we have to fucking do. Like, we have to change so much shit. We have to do so much to fix the system. And so I think people are trying to look at this movement, this strike movement, as a bunch of people who don't really have an organization to themselves. But I think that's not the point at all. The point is, those people have great ideas, but they're not being represented. That's the problem. If any of you are wondering why you just saw a green screen for 3 seconds, that's because there's a difference between the live stream and the thing that goes on YouTube. So when I'm doing a live stream, right now I'm just talking to the live stream. I'm about to delete this part when I post this on YouTube. But I have when I first started this video, I talked about how I'm automating my post-production now. So my whole post-production process is completely automated with Python. I use a package, MoviePy. That's the primary package that I use. And what I do is I take the live stream as the input to this function, and the output is what you get on YouTube. I do nothing in the post-production process. Nothing. So I have automated post-production, and my goal is to organize that program and put it up on GitHub. Make it free for everyone, and then maybe do some tutorials to teach other YouTubers how to automate their post-production. But now that I have post-production done, I can automate it at least. I can edit my video live. Like, what does it mean to automate post-production, right? How does the program know what I want and what I don't want? Well, that's where the green screen and the red screen go in. So this is how the program works. Whenever you see a green screen, that means the last clip, I like it. Whenever you see a red screen, that means the last clip, I don't like it. I'm getting rid of it. The program looks through the entire video and looks for these green screens and red screens, and then it cuts out the shit that I don't like. And then it takes all the leftover portions and it determines where I'm talking, and then it cuts that part out, those parts out. The whole part's fucking automated. That part involves a little bit of like machine learning and shit, which is kind of cool. But luckily I'm not the creator of the package, so I take no credit for that. Yeah, and so what you'll see on YouTube, if you look at any of my videos on YouTube that aren't the live streams themselves, you'll see it's edited. I didn't edit them. Those if you're still watching this live stream, leave, go to my YouTube channel, look up the last couple videos I watched, and you'll see, or I posted, and they're the new ones. You can tell a very clear, obvious difference between the old videos and the new videos. It's been a year, so there's a gap there. But the new videos were video edited with Python completely. So watch the videos and you'll see what I mean by like, what the fuck? The intro is automated. The outro is automated. The music in that beginning is automated. And I'm not done yet. I have ADHD, so I start projects and I can't finish them. Right? So that's why you saw a green screen there. Now, here's the thing. I told you all this, and I'm currently recording a video and I'm currently live streaming. So you're watching a live stream probably right now. And I don't want this part in the video that you're going to see on YouTube. So I'm in the middle of a story. I'm talking about Portland protesters right now. This is in the middle of a story. And it's going to be on the clip that gets in the input of my Python program. And now I'm going to tell my program that I don't want this entire portion that I've been talking to you. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to throw up a red screen now. And you're going to see the red screen for 3 seconds. And then everything between the last time you saw the green screen and the moment you see the red screen is going to be cut out using my Python program. That's pretty cool. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So let's keep going and see what she has to say. Dang, I made a mistake. Right? And so I need to tell my program that I made a mistake. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to give the red screen again. And I need to figure out where I was. Okay, hold on. Here we go. That's where I was. Okay, now I can do this. All right, let's keep watching and see what she has to say. So let's talk about that for a minute, because she's completely correct. We have a lot of houses and a lot of homeless people. So what are the numbers, right? Let's put this into perspective, because the mainstream media, they're not telling you what the numbers are. And unfortunately, not a lot of YouTubers are talking about these numbers. So right now, we have roughly 30 to 50 million empty housing units. 30 to 50 empty housing units. Now, how many homeless people do we have? Well, we have 500,000. We have 500,000 homeless people. Roughly 150 to 200,000 families. Maybe even less than that. That's kind of insane. So we have 30 to 50 million homes, and we have 500,000 homeless people. That means for every homeless person, there's 60 empty housing units in the US. So for every homeless person, we could say, listen, here are 60 places that you can pick. You pick, right? Oh, that's fucking unfair. Yeah, because we are currently in this crazy inefficient system. The system is kind of fucked up, don't you think? Like, that's insane. 30 to 50 million empty housing units. Obviously, capitalism is not efficient. Capitalism is not efficient at distributing resources. We have the resources to give housing to these people, and that's not happening. Why? Capitalism. They're paying a bill. In the US, the housing market is privatized, which is hilarious, because that means that if you want shelter, you better fucking pay for it. Like, if you don't have shelter today, can you imagine that? Like, imagine 100 years ago, you lost a home. That would be really rough, I'm sure. But the thing is, the internet wasn't around. You could probably, go to a different local shop and, try to convince the boss to hire you or whatever, right? That's what it used to be. And now, if you get kicked out in the street, you can't do shit. You want to get a computer? Too fucking bad. You want to go to the library? It's closed. You want to, if you're homeless, you're fucked. That's what it is. That's where we're at right now. And so capitalism has led to this corrupt system that we have. Let's keep listening to what she has to say. Did you hear that? The Democratic and the Republican Party are just two branches of the same tree, and we need a forest. Completely fucking correct. 100% correct. So what does she mean by that? She's saying that the Democratic and Republican Party, they're not different. They're not even categorically different, right? They're the same fucking tree. They're just different branches. Basically the same tree, though. We only have one tree. We have one party. We have one team, I should say. I don't like the concept of teams or parties. We need to get rid of that fucking concept, right? You're not on my team. I'm not on your team. We're not on the same team. You have different beliefs. I have different beliefs. But that's okay. We can unite over our differences. And if we have a proper democracy, we can both be represented properly. All right, let's keep watching this video. Exactly. Just because they're on the same team or whatever, or they think they're on the same team, doesn't mean that we agree with you, right? Let me just clarify something for everyone. Anyone who says that the left is fighting the left is lazy. They're lazy. That's a lazy thing to say. Whenever you look at a discussion, it can be framed as someone's attacking from the left and someone's attacking from the right, or someone's attacking defending from the left or defending from the right, right? The whole left attacking left doesn't make any sense because you can't attack head on. If you're attacking head on, that means you agree. So this whole fucking team thing, it's a way to think like, oh, we should agree, right? We should be on the same page, right? No. That's really dumb. Teams make sense when you're trying to just categorize things, but if you play for teams, then you're not playing on principle. You're playing on teams. And so if the team does something stupid that you don't agree with, but you're following for the team, then you end up doing shit that you don't agree with. Let's keep watching. Oh, that's a tough question. Let's talk about that before she answers. Do you think that these violent protesters should be doing what they're doing? This one's tough. I don't think I'm ready to give my answer. I don't think I'm ready to give you my answer. It's like, well, you know what my answer is then, right? Like, I don't agree with violence against people. I think violence against people is 100% wrong and immoral. All of the time. All of the time. There is no reason to hurt anyone. Right? I think we can all agree on that at this point. There's no reason to hurt anyone. Right? If something bad has happened, there's no reason to cause extra damage gratuitously. Right? So violence is wrong when it's directed at people. Violence against property, I wouldn't do that. But I don't frown upon the people who are destroying property, because if I were to frown on them, then I would need to frown at a lot of other things, right? There are a lot of other people to shit on. Not the people that are so fucking broken that they're breaking shit because they have nothing else. They have no voice, so they have to do something to get you to pay attention to them. Don't immediately shit on them, right? That's not the thing that you do. Rioters are the language of the unspoken, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, right? Riots are the language of the unspoken. So the only fucking point they're rioting is because they're really, really mad. Why are they mad? Because the system's wrong. Is their anger justified? I don't know. What do you think? Would you be pissed off if you couldn't buy food, have a home, when all these other rich people are just owning empty homes? I think I'd break windows. So, yeah, don't shit on the people that riot. Like, don't shit on the people that riot. That's so stupid. Let's keep watching. Exactly. Did you hear what she just said? I want to really emphasize what she just said. She just said, relative to the other issues, it's a non-issue. That's basically what she said. Relative to this is just a non-issue. Like, if you're concerned, like if you're mad that these windows are broken, like if you're mad about that, or if you fear for your life, by the way, if you fear for your life because of that, like, I'm sorry, you're a coward. They're not trying to hurt people. They're not hurting people. they're trying to send a message, right? They're trying to say something because they can't. Because they don't have a voice. Because we don't have a democracy. We have a representative democracy. And when you have a representative democracy and capitalism, then your representation is going to be bought. Duh. Fucking duh. So if you're mad about this, like if you look at this and you say, oh my gosh, that poor business, they paid so much for that glass, right? If you're saying that, like, you can fuck the right off, like fuck off. Like, I don't want you to, don't dislike the video, unsubscribe and leave. That's what I say, you know, like this is not an issue. This is not an issue. You know what's an issue? Tens of millions of people haven't been paying rent for like months. Almost everyone has like 50 grand of student loan debt. Like everyone has credit card debt and this is not an issue. Okay, let's keep going. Exactly. Yeah. So I of course I got that from I got that quote from her citing Martin Luther King, as you can see there. But she's absolutely correct. She's 100% correct. She's 100% correct. Martin Luther King Jr. is 100% correct. Rioters are just the language of the unspoken. When you can't have a voice, what else are you gonna do? Like, look at the Capitol riot, right? Why are they pissed off? Why did they riot? They rioted because they felt like they weren't represented. Now, why do they feel that way? I think their understanding of the situation is messed up. But fundamentally speaking, they don't feel like they're represented. And I agree with that feeling. I completely relate to that feeling. And so when you don't feel like you can be represented, then what the fuck are you going to do? I mean, understand that this is what's happening in the Republican Party right now as well. The Democrat Party is having the same problem that the Republican Party is. Why is that? Because they're really the same fucking party. They're the same fucking party. So of course they're both having civil wars. So the right wingers, right? The people on the right team or whatever, as they consider themselves, they want to be represented. The right wingers want to be represented. I want to be represented. We want the same thing. We want to be represented. That's the fundamental issue here. The fundamental issue the underlying issue to the Capitol riot is the same underlying issue to the Portland to these riots, these protests. The underlying issue is that we don't feel like we are represented. The reason we don't feel like we're represented is because we're represented by other people. I don't agree with them, though. I agree with myself. I can represent myself because I agree with myself. I don't need someone else I don't agree with to count my vote. Right? Keep in mind, with direct democracy versus representative democracy, here's the exact difference. The exact difference is your representation is spoken from a representative, or your vote is spoken from you. That's the fundamental difference here. So we need a direct democracy. That's the solution. We need to bring the democracy to the people. How do you bring the democracy to the people? As you saw from that video I posted earlier, it's on my channel. You can put the democracy in the workplace, right? As Dr. Richard Wolff talks about. That's huge, right? We need a democracy everywhere. That's what we need. As Elon Musk describes, it's a feedback loop. You want a really fast feedback loop. You want efficiency, and the way you maximize efficiency is you get rid of the fucking banks and the investors, and you give the workers their work. The workers should own the work. The banks should not own the work. The investors, the grandmas who own massive amounts of wealth in their 401k should not decide where Tesla goes. They should not be making the choices for Google. They should not be making the choices for McDonald's. Right? You know who should be making decisions for McDonald's? The people who fucking run the stores. You know, wouldn't it be great if the people who were working at McDonald's got the money and that decided, hey, let's take the profits and split it amongst ourselves instead? Fuck this CEO, right? The CEO can find his own store to work at. And there's a lot of different ways of organizing socialism, but the point is, you need a democracy. You need a democracy in the workplace. You need a democracy at home. You need a democracy everywhere. Ideally, you want a democracy between every system that you interact with. Every single system you interact with should involve democracy. Democracy is a great thing. If you think that it's a dangerous tool, then explain to me how it could be more dangerous than having these fucking, representatives, corrupt representatives, right? You think that's better? You think that's a good idea? I'm much more scared of the policies that Nancy Pelosi is pushing than the policies of mob rule. That's my thought. That's just my thought. All right, let's go back to the live stream. Let me do some. So again, this is a one-man show. Everything you're watching is completely done by me. Every single fucking aspect of it, and it's kind of a, it's easier. It's weird when you have ADHD. You're able to do all this shit at the same time, but you can get a little lost. So yeah, what you just saw was I just recorded a clip on Streamlabs, and that clip is a very long clip, right? I had a lot of segments, and there were some parts in there that I want to delete. I'm going to take that clip, and I'm going to plug it into my program, and it's going to give me the edited version. And I fucking love it. All right, let me do that real quick. I need to find that video I just recorded, and I'm going to call that Portland Protesters. Alrighty, there we go. I'm almost done there. Perfect. I'm done. Boom. And now I can move on to the next video, and I can pump that out into YouTube, and everything's fucking automated. It's great. All right, let's go through the comment section real quick. There's no audio. Fuck me. There's no fucking audio. I'm gonna have to fix that. That sucks. That sucks. I made that mistake. Wow, that fucking sucks. I know what happened there. I had desktop muted. Fucking Streamlabs. See, this is the one problem with running a one-man show is you run into problems like this and you have to start all over again. I can't tell you how many times I've started all over again. It's a one-man show. All right, let's I'll just put the audio in the final video. Fuck it. I'm not going to do that again. That was a nightmare. I'll just edit that video properly. Let's move on to the next video. Actually, well, there's some more comments here I can read. I can read some more comments. I won't read any of the comments about the technical difficulties that I just experienced. Flesk says, no video, nice video. I wish there was a collective gall enough to do it. I hope there will be. Yeah, I hope so too. I don't know. I said that word wrong. I don't know how to say that word. I'm sorry. Tony Herndon says, did you hear about the general strike in India over 100 million people? Yeah, I heard about it. I think it's over 250 million people. Flesk says, in India, it's a farmer's strike because the government is changing some pricing rules. And I don't know how to say that word. I'm embarrassed to say that, but fuck it. I don't know how to say that word. Mostly six. I don't know how to say that word. Sorry. Tony Herndon says, no, I also don't hear any audio. Oh, okay. Yeah. Flesk says, sounds cool. Automated. I'm curious to see how well it works. You can see how well it works. There are videos I've already posted that I've already used the program for. So you can see what automated post-production looks like. If you go to my channel and you look up my videos, you'll see the previous videos, the last two videos I posted, those videos were automated. All the post-production. I did not touch a fucking thing on that clip, and it was completely automated, video edited. Cut the bad parts out, cut the talking. Like, you'll see how fucking solid it looks too. It's great. I fucking love programming. It's my favorite thing. All right, so anyways, yeah, so that's why probably everyone left, is because the audio wasn't working. Well, I'll fix that next time, right? That's okay though. That's totally fine. Anyways, let's do one more video. Alrighty, let me start it and then we'll get going. So I came across this article on Reddit. It was pretty popular today, and I want you to read the headline and then I'll read the article, and then I think it'll be pretty clear why the headline and the article aren't really saying the same thing. But we'll read it together. Let's take a look. So this is from The Intelligencer. The headline reads, America is complicit in Yemen atrocities. Biden says that ends now. So a lot of people should, at this point, should get excited, right? Like, I would be like, oh my gosh, finally, let's get out of the fucking war, right? How about we do that for all the wars that we're currently in? How about we stop bombing countries? Finally, right? Can we do that? No, not yet. Well, this article makes it seem like Biden wants to get out. right? That's what this article makes it seem like, right? Well, let's read the article. Let me zoom in a little bit more. It says, during his Senate confirmation hearing on Tuesday, Secretary of State designate Anthony Blinken said President Joe Biden's administration would end U.S. support for Saudi Arabia's military intervention in Yemen, which in Blinken's words had quote, contributed to the worst humanitarian situation anywhere in the world. So far, it looks like this article is framing the Joe Biden administration as anti-war, anti-Saudi Arabia war, right? Like the war between Saudi Arabia and Yemen, it looks like the Joe Biden administration doesn't want to be involved, right? And so what they're doing is they're trying to get you to give Joe Biden credit before you get to the next part. So what's the next part say? As part of this shift in posture, Blinken said the administration would immediately review an order issued by former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo last week, designating Yemen's Houthi rebels a terrorist organization. So I'm going to pretty much stop from right here because the rest of the article is pretty clear that they don't recognize the giant fucking stupidity behind this article. So what's wrong with this article? Undoing what happened last week is not the same thing as us not being involved in the Saudi Arabia-Yemen war. Right? Those are two different things. So undoing an executive order that was passed just last week is not the same thing as undoing all of the shit that you're in right now. Right? That's not the same thing. But it's made out to be like the same thing because the goal here is to give credit to Joe Biden, but not actually give credit to him. Make it look like you're giving credit to him. Make it look like he's progressive. Make it look like he's doing left things, right? Make it look like he wants to reach his hand, extend his arm to the progressives, right? But that's not what's happening. And it's kind of sad to see journalists help that. That's gross. Like, who's the author here? Jonah Shep. I'm confused. Why do you put that the headline is America is complicit in Yemen atrocities? Yes, agreed. Biden says that ends now. Really? Where? Because I don't see that part. I don't see the second part. I like how you're trying to appeal to me with the first part, and then I know you're trying to trick me with the second part. Right? So we see through the bullshit. It's not that fucking hard to see this. You think this fools people? You think people look at this and say, oh, yay, I think I don't need to read the rest of the story. I guess we're out of Yemen now. Right? You think we're all celebrating? You think we're all like, yes, we finally did it. Because that's what they want you to think. I don't see that. I don't see a bunch of progressives saying like, yes, we got out of Yemen, right? Like, no. I also don't see any policy from Joe Biden around withdrawing the troops, right? Withdraw the fucking troops. So let's keep going. So I'm going to read two more paragraphs. This next paragraph isn't as crazy as the second, which is weird to say because they're both fucking insane. Let's read this together. Let's just read it together. At best, Pompeo's last-minute order will be quickly forgotten as a pointless, spiteful gesture toward the new administration. So what's being said here is that gotcha. That's what's being said. That's what that says. Gotcha. Biden is the commander-in-chief, by the way. If anyone doesn't know that, then you should probably take a history class and find out that Biden can withdraw us from the troops right now. You don't need Congress. You say, bring the troops home, full stop. right? But that's not going to happen because, well, you all know why. Let's keep reading. Unlike most petty pranks, like, first off, what's happening here is the journalist is framing this executive order that Pompeo passed as a prank. What? As a petty prank? No, I actually think that was part of their belief. I don't think that was a prank. I think that was on purpose. I think that was the point. I think that was their goal. I think that's what they wanted to do. They weren't trying to like, oh, I'm going to stick it to Biden, right? No, they just wanted to pass it before they left. You know, it looks really fucking bad the executive order that they passed, so it's best when they pass it on their way out. But this journalist wants to frame everything so that it makes it look like Joe Biden gets all the fucking praise and glory. So let's keep reading. So unlike most petty pranks, however, this one has potentially devastating consequences. The UN warned that it could cause Yemen to experience a large-scale famine on a scale that we have not seen for nearly 40 years. You mean the one that's happening right now? It's not that it could cause, you fucking moron. There's a famine in Yemen. People are starving to death. That's not what's going to happen. That's happening. There's a huge fucking difference in those two framings, right? There's a massive difference. I wonder why you would choose the framing. Yeah. Let's keep going. By making it impossible for aid agencies and NGOs to deliver assistance to areas controlled by the rebels, even with an exemption carved out for those groups. Biden's incoming foreign policy and national security teams tend to agree. Hence their commitment to quickly review and most likely reverse this designation. Interesting. It looks like it hasn't happened yet. Biden's incoming foreign policy and national security teams tend to agree, hence their commitment to quickly review and most likely reverse this designation. Most likely. There's a question here. Why would, like, let me read this again. This says, at best, Pompeo's last minute order will be quickly forgotten as a pointless, spiteful gesture toward the new administration. Unlike most petty pranks, however, this one has potentially devastating consequences. And so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Biden's incoming foreign policy. Yeah, so what this is saying here is that it hasn't happened yet, but they want to. So here's what so far that the journalist has done. Let me explain how the story has been twisted. So in the beginning here, you see what looks like Biden being anti-war, but what's really happening is it's not that Biden wants to be not involved in the war. It's not that he wants to end this now. It's not that he wants to end this now. It's not that he wants to end this now. It's that he wants to maybe get rid of an executive order that was passed last week, and that's it. And we say, oh, call it good, and it's good, right? Let's get... Fuck you. People die because of this shit. Fuck you. Right? People go to war and kill other people. People die. People are starving to death. People are getting bombed. And you're fucking doing this? This is what you're doing? Pro-war shit already? It's day fucking 4, 5, 4.5, 5, almost 6. I don't know. Whatever. The point is, this is clearly propaganda. So let's keep going. Like I said, that paragraph was gonna be weird, but the next paragraph is even more like what? Let's keep going. So beyond revisiting the terrorist label for the Houthis. So by the way, all they're doing right now is just reversing a label. That's not the same thing as reversing the war. That's not the same thing. He's revisiting the idea. He's just revisiting the idea. He's not even doing it. It's day 5 and he still hasn't done it. You think he's going to do it, you fucking sucker? You're a sucker. He's pro-war. He's been pro-war his whole fucking life. When did that change? Why do you think that you can be dumb on purpose and get away with it? I don't understand. Let's keep going. So beyond revisiting the terrorist label for the Houthis, the Biden administration intends, keyword, intends to cease helping Saudi Arabia prosecute the Yemen war with logistical support and arms sales. Intend? What does intend mean? You mean not? You mean like you're the leader, you have the power to do this, and you're still thinking about it? If you have the power and you don't use it, that's because you're doing it on purpose. That's because you don't agree with it, right? If you have the power and you can do something about it and you don't do it, that's because you don't agree with it, right? If AOC votes for Nancy Pelosi, it's because she agrees with Nancy Pelosi, right? If you think that AOC is voting for Nancy Pelosi because of strategy, then that's also a bad sign, because you shouldn't be voting on strategy. You should be voting on what's right. That's what you should be voting on. When you vote, you should be picking the best option. Full stop. Fuck the strategy shit, right? If you're like let's say you're part of the Libertarian Party or whatever, right? The people who vote there, they're proud. They're proud of their vote. You know why? Because they voted with their fucking conscience, and their vote is then represented in the polling data, right? They show representation. They're showing their representation. They're saying this is where we are right now. And for all of you people who think that the Democratic Party can save you, you're lost. You're not paying attention. All right, let's keep going. So the Biden administration is pretending to cease helping Saudi Arabia prosecute the Yemen war with logistical support and arms sales. Weapon sales to the Saudis and other countries were among the actions former President Donald Trump considered to be foreign policy achievements. It's as if this reporter is intentionally not telling you that all of the former presidents, every single fucking one of them, sold arms and helped with logistical support in so many fucking wars. I saw an article that showed, I think it was a list of 30 to 40 countries that we bombed in the 20th century. That's who we are, by the way. Okay, so let's keep going. So weapon sales to Saudis and other countries were among the actions former President Donald Trump considered to be foreign policy achievements. In late December, the Trump administration notified Congress that it was pushing ahead with another sale of $500 million worth of precision-guided bombs to Saudi Arabia. Lawmakers had until Thursday to pass a resolution of disapproval. So, let me just clarify for everyone. This can still be reversed. This arms deal can be reversed. This whole bullshit, right? The sale isn't fully done yet, right? Fucking stop it. You're the president of the United States. You can do that. Right? It was Donald Trump's decision. He's showing what Trump is doing here. He doesn't know he's doing this, but what Trump is doing here is he's showing that Biden can't be anti-war even fucking here. Even here. Even giving $500 million worth of bombs to a far-right theocratic government that openly sells their arms to terrorists. Biden's thinking, I don't know, maybe I'll wait. Maybe we'll just wait for 100 days, right? Maybe it'll just be one of those 100-day things. Let's just see after we drop like another 500 bombs. We'll talk about it then. That's what's happening right now. That's the dialogue. All right, I'm done with that video. Let me save that video real quick. And then I'll go to the comments. Again, this is a one-man show, so I have to kind of do everything at the same time, which is kind of crazy and hard, but oh, you're seeing all this. You're seeing me do all of this. That's great. Here, how about that? That's better. That's much better. All right, well, I think that's all the videos I'm going to do for today. Thanks so much, everyone. The whole live stream will be posted. I'm glad to be back. I'm really glad to be here. And I'll see you all tomorrow at 5 p.m. hopefully. At this point, I'm going to be trying to do live streams every fucking day at 5 p.m. 4 videos a day. Video edited by none other than a